Mystery box TV shows can be fantastic when they're done well, but as the genre becomes oversaturated, it's hard to ignore the series that lost their spark when they started answering questions. A mystery box show is a series that uses nebulous and sometimes confusing events to slowly craft a larger, overarching story that connects all the characters and plot points through a hidden piece of lore. The secrets at the heart of these stories keep audiences coming back for more, but forcing the audience to live with uncertainty for so long means the narrative payoff has to be good. Moody mystery TV shows have always done well, and many of these projects lean into the atmospheric effect that plot twists and shocking narrative developments have on the story. More often than not, a mystery box show will have an incredible first season that draws the viewer in. However, this makes it even more disappointing when it's clear that the writers don't have the answers. Many of these series are sci-fi TV shows with mystery elements, as this creates opportunities for even more intrigue, allowing series to stall for time if they don't have a plan to stick the landing. 8. Under the Dome, 2013 to 2015. Stephen King's story was taken one step further on TV. Under the Dome is an underrated Stephen King adaptation that should be recognized for bringing one of his best works of sci-fi to the screen. Though it's based on just one novel, Under the Dome ran for 3 seasons on CBS, expanding upon the story and creating new tensions for the narrative to explore. However, the format of Under the Dome is better suited to a character study and examining the breakdown of social structures, as these elements are the best parts of the show. In the book, the ultimate answer to who put the titular dome over the town, trapping the residents, is fairly cut and dry, if still unexpected. Unfortunately, the final season of Under the Dome lost faith in its audience and started hitting them over the head with the answers instead of trusting them to pick up on the nuance of the story. It's still interesting to watch Under the Dome today, but in some ways, it's better to stop after Season 1. Manifest, 2018 to 2023. Manifest took the plane crash narrative and flipped it on its head. Fans of Once Upon a Time will recognize the start of Manifest, Josh Dallas, who plays Ben Stone, one of the passengers on the flight in Manifest that has gone missing for over 5 years. Drawing immediate comparisons to Lost, one of the most popular mystery box TV shows of all time, Manifest eventually distinguished itself and created an interesting narrative that was unlike anything else. It helped that the premise of Manifest was both scary and enthralling, as well as balanced by typical relationship dynamics and dramas. However, by the end of the 3rd installment, Manifest wasn't as popular as it once was, thanks to the increasingly supernatural events that could be surprising. Luckily, after being cancelled by NBC following Season 3, Manifest was revived by Netflix for one more season, allowing the show to provide a more satisfying ending than it might have otherwise. Though still a little out there, the conclusion of Manifest helped make up for some of the less logical story choices made throughout the show. Big Little Lies, 2017, present. After an incredible Season 1, Big Little Lies lost some momentum. Nicole Kidman, one of the stars of Big Little Lies, recently confirmed that the drama would be returning for a 3rd season, despite the fall-off in quality and ratings from Season 2. While the 2nd installment wasn't terrible, it didn't live up to the tightly woven story of Season 1 that first captured viewers' and critics' attention. Based on the book by Liane Moriarty, Big Little Lies intertwined the lives of a group of young mothers living seemingly idyllic lives who all harbored terrible secrets. It's a dark story, and not always easy to watch, but as the tension mounted throughout Season 1, Big Little Lies only became more compelling. However, while the reveal in the final episode was necessary, it lessened some of the drama that Season 2 could have boasted. There were still secrets that the women had to keep in Season 2, but the most important characters were sharing information, which meant there were fewer opportunities to shock audiences. Lost, 2004 to 2010. As one of the greatest mystery box shows of all time, Lost is a subject of intense debate. There's a lot to love about Lost, the iconic mystery, sci-fi, survival series that defied expectations and genre conventions while infuriating audiences until the very end. Whether viewers are debating what really happened in the series finale or still wondering how time travel was possible on the island, there's plenty to question when it comes to the story and lore of Lost. However, one of the most compelling parts of Lost was coming up with theories about what secrets the island held and what the truth of the plane crash was. Unfortunately, Lost started to stagger under the weight of its many conflicting plot developments and twists as the show became more interested in surprising the audience than telling a coherent story at times. This came through in moments like the flash-forward reveal and the identity of the smoke monster connecting back to the island's ability to move in time. Lost Season 1 is a near-perfect season of television because it prioritizes character, and the viewer has the opportunity to decide the meaning of certain moments for themselves. Westworld, 2016 to 2022. Westworld had a lot of promise, but it was hard to maintain its trajectory. Westworld is a sci-fi TV show that never got closure, which was unfortunate considering how much potential there was for the series to flourish. There were some unforgettable reveals at the end of Season 1 that could have set up an incredible series arc. However, Westworld played its hand too early in some cases, forcing the writers to come up with narrative turns that didn't fit with the rest of the story. Though Westworld started to find its footing by Season 4, the series was tragically cut short. Where the story might have gone in Season 5 is anyone's guess. There was still a lot of story to tell, especially when it came to Dolores, the host the narrative had followed since the beginning. Throughout its run, Westworld earned lots of critical and audience praise because it pushed itself to be different from other sci-fi projects. However, the high stakes and intense mystery of Season 1 remained unmatched. Twin Peaks, 1990 to 1991. Twin Peaks Season 2 was ruined by outside intervention. While Twin Peaks, The Return made up for many of the mistakes that plagued Twin Peaks Season 2, it's widely accepted that the second installment of the iconic mystery series doesn't align with the essential message of the project. Created by David Lynch and Mark Frost, Twin Peaks changed the shape of the mystery box genre forever, as Lynch was not a filmmaker who was afraid to leave the audience with more questions than answers. This was part of the beauty of Twin Peaks and why solving Laura Palmer's murder was such a mistake. Bob Iger is largely responsible for ruining Twin Peaks Season 2, as the executive put pressure on Lynch and the creative team to give concrete answers to what happened to Laura and copy a typical crime procedural format, via Collider. Of course, the traditional crime drama was the antithesis of the surreal and emotional nature of Twin Peaks, as the answers to who was